Anne Bonny, 8 March 1697, disappeared April 1721. Anne Bonny was an Irish pirate operating in the Caribbean and one of the few female pirates in recorded history. Bonny was born in Ireland around 1700 and moved to London and then to the province of Carolina when she was about 10 years old. Around 1718, she married sailor James Bonny, assumed his last name, and moved with him to Nassau in the Bahamas, a sanctuary for pirates. It was there that she met Calico Jack Rackham and became his pirate partner and lover. She was captured alongside Rackham and Mary Red in October 1720. All three were sentenced to death, but Bonny and Red had their executions stayed because both of them were pregnant. Red died of a fever in jail in April 1720, one likely to complications from the pregnancy. But Bonny's fate is unknown. Early life. Bonny's birth date is speculated to be around 1700. She was said to be born in Old Head of Kinsale in County Cork, Ireland. She was the daughter of servant woman Mary Brennan and Brennan's employer, lawyer William Cormac. She was born to Mary Brennan because, following the illness of Cormac's wife, she was moved down to her mother-in-law's home, which was a few miles down the road, while the wife of William Cormac was ill and at another home. William stayed to look over the family home, where he then had an affair with one of the maids, Mary Brennan, who then birthed Anne Bonny. Anne Bonny was seen as one of the legitimate issues from William Cormac. Official records and contemporary letters dealing with her life are scarce, and most modern knowledge stems from Charles Johnson's A General History of the Pirates. Bonny's father, William Cormac, first moved to London to get away from his wife's family, and he began dressing Anne as a boy and calling her Andy. When Cormac's wife discovered William had taken in his illegitimate daughter and was bringing the child up to be a lawyer's clerk and dressing her as a boy, she stopped giving him an allowance. Cormac then moved to the province of Carolina, taking along Anne and her mother, his former serving girl. Bonny's father abandoned the original prefix of their family name to blend more easily into the Charlestown citizenry. At first, the family had a rough start in their new home, but Cormac's knowledge of the law and ability to buy and sell goods soon financed a townhouse and eventually a plantation just out of town. Bonny's mother died when she was 12. Her father attempted to establish himself as an attorney, but did not do well. Eventually, he joined the more profitable merchant business and accumulated a substantial fortune. It is recorded that Bonny had red hair and was considered a good catch, but may have had a fiery temper. At age 13, she supposedly stabbed a servant girl with a knife. She married a poor sailor and small-time pirate named James Bonny. James hoped to win possession of his father-in-law's estate, but Bonny was disowned by her father. Anne's father did not approve of James Bonny as a husband for his daughter, and he kicked Anne out of their house. There is a story that Bonny set fire to her father's plantation in retaliation, but no evidence exists in support. However, it is known that sometime between 1714 and 1718, she and James Bonny moved to Nassau on New Providence Island, known as a sanctuary for English pirates, called the Republic of Pirates. Many inhabitants received a king's pardon or otherwise evaded the law. It is also recorded that, after the arrival of Governor Woodes Rogers in the summer of 1718, James Bonny became an informant for the governor. James Bonny would report to Governor Rogers about the pirates in the area, which resulted in a multitude of these pirates being arrested, and disliked the work her husband did for Governor Rogers. Rackham's partner. While in the Bahamas, Bonny began mingling with pirates in the taverns. She met John Calico Jack Rackham, and he became her lover. Rackham subsequently offered money to her husband James if he would divorce her, but her husband refused and threatened to beat Rackham. She and Rackham escaped the island together, and she became a member of his crew. She disguised herself as a man on the ship, and only Rackham and Mary Red were aware that she was a woman until it became clear that she was pregnant. Rackham then landed her in Cuba, where she gave birth to a son. She then rejoined Rackham and continued the pirate life, having divorced her husband and married Rackham while at sea. Citation needed. Bonny, Rackham, and Red stole the ship William, then at anchor in Nassau Harbor, and put out to sea. Rackham and the two women recruited a new crew. Their crew spent years in Jamaica and the surrounding area. Bonny took part in combat alongside the men, and Governor Rogers named her in a wanted pirate circular published in the Boston News Letter. When Bonny told Reed that she was a woman because she was attracted to her, Reed revealed that she too was a woman. To abate the jealousy of Rackham, who suspected romantic involvement between the two, Bonny told him that Red was a woman. Speculation over the relationship between Bonny and Reed led to images depicting the two in battle together. A victim of the pirates, Dorothy Thomas, left a description of Red and Bonny, and long trousers and handkerchiefs tied about their heads. And each of them had a machete and pistol in their hands, and they cursed and swore at the men to murder her Dorothy Thomas. Thomas also recorded that she knew that they were women from the largeness of their breasts, capture, and imprisonment. In October 1720, Rackham and his crew were attacked by a sloop captained by Jonathan Barnett under a commission from Nicholas Laws, governor of Jamaica. Most of Rackham's pirates put up little resistance, as many of them were too drunk to fight. They were taken to Jamaica, where they were convicted and sentenced by Governor Laws to be hanged. When Anne Bonny was being tried in Jamaica, many of the gentlemen planters of Jamaica knew Anne Bonny's father and had dealt with him before. Therefore, it was assumed that Bonny may receive favor in her trial. However, her action of leaving was a harrowing circumstance against her that was one of the reasons that ultimately led to her imprisonment. Red and Bonny both pleaded their bellies, asking for mercy because they were pregnant, and the court granted them a stay of execution until they gave birth. Reed died in prison, most likely from a fever from childbirth. A ledger from a church in Jamaica lists her burial on 28 April 1721. Mary Red, pirate. There is no record of Bonny's release, and this has fed speculation as to her fate. A ledger lists the burial of an Anne Bonny on 29 December 1733 in the same town in Jamaica where she was tried. Charles Johnson writes in a general history of the robberies and murders of the most notorious pirates, published in 1724. She was continued in prison to the time of her lying in, and afterward reprieved from time to time. But what is become of her since we cannot tell. Only this we know, that she was not executed. Other sources have stated that she may have returned to the United States after her imprisonment, dying in South Carolina in April 1782.